But it actually took me, for this story, 9 months. Because when I was pregnant, wrong person. I thought I was pregnant. I had sympathy pains, but it wasn't me. My sweetie pie Terry had our son Mark. And the feeling I want to share is a little hand grabbing on to my little finger in a special place on his birth date. While he was submerged, his head was on above water. It was submerged in water. And he grabbed up out of the water and grabbed my fingers in each hand and held himself right there, right after birth. He opened his eyes and smiled. This was so magic that the nurse called the other nurses in, and the doctors came around, and I was almost crowded into the little lake, or little water area that my son was submerged in. He had his head up. Because children, when they're born normally, are all cold, they're in a foreign environment, it's scary for them, and until they get warmth, they're panicking. This freedom is called, or was called when I was 30-some years ago, it was called La Boyer method of birth. And Terry and I were in our late 30s, and it was one of those unexpected things. However, it was joyous. And Terry looked at me and said, "Roland, you're going to participate." And I looked at her and said, "That's terrifying." This is the last time I just sat outside in a room. She said, "You're going to participate." And so I said, "Well, if I'm going to participate, I got to do it 100%. So I studied and I looked, and they had two different major things. They had a Lamaze class and a La Boyer class, or group. They didn't actually have classes for it. The La Boyer method was a natural type process, and Lamaze class was a mechanical learning process. Well, Terry and I studied both, so we took a little out of each, but we tended towards the La Boyer. Man, this was cool. And I had to do all of this stuff that males do, and I mean, I was out of water. Well, we got into the room where the birth was, and what they did is they made a special room, and they made it all dark, and then they set up a tub of water there, and the only thing that they didn't train me on was an oxygen mask. And she handed it to me, and I went to put it on my face, and she says, "It's not for you." Well, I says, "Oh." And then I helped Terry put it, I held it onto her face, and about 4 or 5 minutes later, when I was watching what was happening, she said, "Take it off my ear." And so I looked and I had it on her ear. I guess that's not the right spot. So I put it back on her face. And she says, some words I don't really know, but they have in Texas. And so I paid attention after that. But having my son Mark learning all these new things in life. Having a son that I got to hold within a couple minutes after he was born was one of the tenderest, loveliest, touching experience that I've ever experienced.